Brooke, how are you?
Very good.
And where are we today?
We're at 3RRR.
And how are you feeling?
Okay.
Good, good. Should be good.
It'll be great.
We have some very, very happy and engaged guests now to talk about the Coranderrk Festival coming up at the end of the week. And I should say Coranderrk is a really special place. It's up in the Healesville region, and the festival is to celebrate 150 years of the Coranderrk Aboriginal station that's there and was there and is still there. And to speak about it, we have co-directors of the festival, Brooke Collins and Jacqui Wanden. And you've really captured me with your enthusiasm at the moment. You've got so much going on with this festival. But before we launch into what's about to happen, let's talk about what has happened and tell us about Coranderrk.
Sure. Okay, where do I start? It's a pretty long history. I think a great place to start is around about in the 1850s, late 1850s. There was a very small number of our ancestors, not only our ancestors, but people from this area, people from around Acheron, Goulburn, Yarra Valley. There was a very small number of them together, and they just didn't have anywhere they could call their own. And that sort of was the beginning of the story of Coranderrk. They, together with John and Mary Green, some Scottish people, so they linked up, they worked it out, and they got a property which was Coranderrk. Obviously that's a very, very short summation. But Jacqui and I feel really strongly about the idea in that, which is people working together for a common cause and for the good of everybody rather than just ourselves.
So what happened at this property, Coranderrk?
Well, so in 1863 Coranderrk was gazetted. There was 2,000 acres. So this remnant population of Indigenous people gathered there. They worked the farm and they really succeeded for the first 15 years. Unfortunately, it's not really a pleasant story. The government at the time, the white settlers in the Yarra Valley region, there was a lot of pressure by those two groups to really bring Coranderrk undone. So in a very clever political strategy, in 1886, there was a law passed so that every half-caste person between the ages of 16 and 34, must go off and assimilate into white society. And what that did is that absolutely decimated Coranderrk and its ability to run their beautiful self-sustaining farm, which they had done previously for 12 to 15 years. So I suppose from a personal point of view, I just sort of feel quite frustrated about that us black fellas, we did really well, beat the white fellas at their own game, but then they still sort of, they buggered us up.
And I think, last year, I think it was on the program we spoke about a significant court case involving people that lived at Coranderrk and walked all the way into Melbourne to raise concerns about the way that the station was operating, and that was turned into a play by Albidgery Theatre. And maybe that walk and what came of that court case is really worth reminding us about what happened with that.
Yeah, sure. So in 1881, there was a parliamentary inquiry into Coranderrk, and both Jacqui and I have been to see the play. Number one, it's a beautiful play, and I loved the whole performance.
It was verbatim theatre, wasn't it? They actually took the words out of the court records.
That's right, and also too, it was just really nice to hear our surname in that play, and to really remind us that no wonder we feel so passionate about Coranderrk. No wonder we really care about the place and we want it to continue and thrive. But I just think it's just so fantastic that many people now have access to this kind of information. I'm going off track a bit, but as a Healesville girl, growing up in Healesville, I really didn't hear the Coranderrk more than 5 times in my whole upbringing. And that's something that really needs to change. And I can sort of say that I have a daughter in year 10 now, and last year she did a whole unit on Coranderrk, so, a little bit overdue, but still well worth it.
Was this part of your kind of family folklore though? Did you hear a lot about it within your families, or did you have to go out and seek information?
Well, perhaps with my late grandmother and a couple of our late uncles, there was always discussion. But in terms of really getting down into the nuts and bolts of it, you know, there's so much information out there on Coranderrk. So when I was a teenager, I really thought, I'm never going to know anything. Poor me. You know, there's no photos, there's no this, there's no that. And I've been really pleasantly surprised that it's the exact opposite. And my husband and children are very jealous when I spend hours on Trove researching anything to do with Coranderrk.
Well, what have you found?
Oh, heaps of amazing stuff. I think the most impressive for me to this day is a letter written by my grandfather saying, please do not bulldoze the Coranderrk Cemetery. My father is buried there, my mother is buried there, my 2 children are buried there, and that's in the 1950s. And yeah, that it just breaks your heart.
Where do you find these kinds of archives, I wonder?
Well, our good friend Trove, you know.
Yeah, it's an amazing resource, isn't
Oh,
it?
how spoiled are we? I think back to not even that long ago, people had to, you know, traipse into the State Library and go through the records and, you know, here's Brookie, just presses a few buttons and bang, she's got the information.
That's wonderful, and
It's
hopefully
great.
something that can happen in all sorts of communities where people can start to familiarise and connect the dots with their local areas, I guess, as you guys are doing. You're still living out in the local area, but just last weekend or the weekend before, I think it was, you guys did do a smaller reenactment of that walk that we were just talking about, didn't you?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was really short notice.
You didn't go all the way from Melbourne, surely?
No, we done the walk from the Watts River in Healesville to Coranderrk. Yeah, and it was an amazing day. It was really short notice, but we knew it was really important to do. And we had 50 people that walked all the way, and we had a lovely afternoon. We had some people out there that had, you know, old stories to tell us. So it's just all about gathering information, and yeah, it was a wonderful day.
And what's there now at Coranderrk?
Well, what's left at Coranderrk now is 200 acres, and the cemetery that is half an acre. And there really is nothing left at Coranderrk that resembles what happened there. Everything got bulldozed. It was there, apparently they were going to use it for soldiers' settlement, but nothing ever came of Coranderrk. So the way Brooke and I feel is, you know, they've picked us all off there, and now we have to honour our ancestors. They've been sitting out in that land for 75 years now, and they need to be set free, and that's just how we feel.
Are there any plans within, I don't know whether it's local government there, or is there anything happening with local government or state government in terms of what is to become of that land?
No, it has been handed back to the Wandoon Estate Corporation, so, you know, it's back to the traditional people, so we're very pleased. And what we want out there is it needs to be a community place, you know, a gathering place, a learning place. So hopefully in the future we can set something up like that there.
Well, that's exactly what you're doing there for the festival that's happening on the
Yeah.
16th of March. What a great way for people to get out there and learn a little bit and have a good time and see what is happening out there now. Tell us a little bit about this festival that's happening on the 16th and what you're trying to do there.
I actually really like to tell people that about 12 months ago, I looked in our local rag and there was an ad, a community grant for an event. And we kind of went, are we going to have a crack? And the answer was yes. And it was just fantastic that we got a grant from our local shire, our Yarra Ranges Council, and that's how it started. And we actually aimed pretty low at the start. We thought, oh, we'll just have a low-key
Just have a
gathering.
little festival.
It'll
Just a
be
little one.
beautiful.
Maybe the coloured stone will come.
Yeah. Now we're friends with all these really famous people. Like, who knew? But I think something that I keep reflecting on is, you know, Jacqui and I, we are doing it. We are just the vehicles. I think that there's something bigger going on here, and you know, I think our ancestors way back then, in their very troubled times, would have known that we would come along and we would do this, and not focusing on the we. that's actually not what it's about. It's about such a large group of people and that are dispersed all over Victoria that have a connection to Coranderrk. I want them to be able to feel as proud as I do, and I think that there's a lot of people who maybe are cautious to come back to Coranderrk, and I
Because
totally,
it's a sad place.
absolutely, and I totally acknowledge that, and I totally respect that, but also too, I think it's really important that we focused on all the really positive things that happened out at Coranderrk, because there was some of those too.
Well, it's going to be a pretty amazing day, and I feel like even now that it's going to be quite an emotional day for you guys on the 16th of March as well.
Yeah.
Yes is the short answer.
Yeah, you're going to take the tissues with you, and
Definitely.
but
I think we've already started using the tissue. Very overwhelmed.
Well, Kulja Edwards is going to be performing, Neil Murray and Lee Morgan, the Young Warriors, who won the Deadly Award last year, and the Coloured Stone, as mentioned. It's a great lineup happening out there. Market stalls, food and drink available. It's $25 for a family or $15 adults, $10 concession. You can get tickets at trybooking.com/CFTK.
what time does it kick off?
At midday.
So
So, yeah.
daytime event on the 16th of March.
And so pack yourselves into your car and head out that way. But I imagine you're going to get a lot of locals as well heading over.
Yeah, we hope so, and also to check out our Facebook page. We've had a lot of success with that. People uploading their photos of their relatives and saying, "Hey, look, this is my granny. Hey, look, this is my uncle." And I really encourage as many people to do that as possible.
Oh, well, and here's the momentum, and that we'll be shouting out this event in future years as well. Thank you so much, both of you, for coming in. Brooke Collins and Jacqui Wanden, co-directors of the Coranderrk Festival, the 16th of March, 150 years, marking the anniversary of Coranderrk Aboriginal Station. Thanks.
Thanks so much.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
We're going to take a track from Saint Nick now for all the lucky people who managed to catch him at the My Music Bowl over the weekend, including one Dylan Bird, who volunteers for us here at Triple R, answering calls and the like. This is from the Push the Sky Away album, Big Frozen Blues.
Thank you.
Thank you for
The
coming.
only
Nice,
thing-
wonderful.
Oh, did we
Could
miss
you-
something?
No. If you are
Thank
going to
you.
mention it later on,
Yeah.
could you just please put no alcohol event?
Oh, yes.
I didn't want to interrupt you rudely, but
Yeah.
yeah.
You should have.
Because, people just turn up to
People
events
can
and they
take
Well,
might
we'll be
just...
shouting it out next Monday anyway to remind
Yeah.
people, so we'll say it then.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Excellent.
Oh, thank you very
And I
much.
did that. I almost said pack your picnic hampers, and I went, I don't know if it's.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
Yeah.
Oh,
change that
and
We
so
have,
sausage.
we have actually said people can bring a picnic if they wish to.
Yeah, but
there's
sometimes
gonna
you got
be,
traders
there's going to be
there.
awesome food there though.
Yeah.
Got some good
How many
vans.
people are you expecting?
I don't know.
No
It's an
idea.
unknown. It's just
It's
a
a
big
big
unknown.
business,
It says 500
Just gotta
on
roll with
Facebook. That's all we know. I've
You
catered,
can't
I've
trust
catered
Facebook, can you?
for 1,000.
And G Kutch is good live at the, like.
Oh, we can't wait.